Coming into the year of 2014, Universal Orlando Resort would again host its grand annual event, Halloween Horror Nights, for its 24th time. This year would bring all new fear to the event, as the masterminds of horror-based attractions would create all new offerings based off some of the most popular horror films and television series. You have been warned when entering this year's Halloween Horror Nights, because fear will eat you alive. This is SP History. In creating the 2014 Halloween Horror Nights event, Universal Creative would acquire rights to even more horror intellectual properties, as it would be created into all new haunted houses and scare zones. Headlining, Universal and the television network AMC would partner for a third time to create an all-new maze based off the ever-popular series AMC's The Walking Dead, which has shown to be very popular with attending guests. But The Walking Dead wouldn't be alone, as Universal would bring one of the most popular horror slashers to life in an all-new haunted house based off the iconic horror film Halloween. Other supporting horror IPs would also be featured in the house lineup, such as Alien vs. Predator and From Dusk Till Dawn. So with that all said, Halloween Horror Nights 24 would run for 28 nights from September to November, one more night than previous, including 8 haunted houses, 4 scare zones, and 2 shows, as guests enter a ruthless Universal Studios Florida infested by flesh-eating monsters and uncontrollable maniacs. In discussing the houses of Halloween Horror Nights 24, the 8 created were heavily based off existing horror IPs, but also included a few original, terrifying concepts. The first house would be located within Soundstage 22 and be based off the 2014 L-Ray Network television series From Dusk Till Dawn, as the house shared the same name. Inside, guests relive the most popular scenes from season 1 of the show as they try to escape the grasp of ancient bloodthirsty creatures. The second house would be placed inside Soundstage 25, a new location, and be the third house to be based off the popular TV series AMC's The Walking Dead, as this one would be called The Walking Dead: End of the Line. Within, guests would step right into the 4th season of the show as they encounter all the iconic scenes and their many flesh-eating walkers. This house would be highlighted as one of the largest houses to ever be created, as it included the most scare actors to be within one house, a huge achievement in the history of the Halloween event. The next house would be located within Soundstage 24 and be another IP-based house that features 2 classic movie monsters, as it was titled AVP: Alien vs. Predator. Here, guests enter a Weyland-Yutani Corp facility that has been turned into a dominion of hell as ferocious xenomorphs and the deadly predator square off in an epic battle where no one wins. Though using the premise of the Alien vs. Predator films, the house would also feature elements from the individual franchises of Alien and Predator, making it an all-encompassing experience of both monsters. The 4th house would also be within Soundstage 24 and be centered around the 2014 Universal horror action film Dracula Untold, as the house's official title will be Dracula Untold: Reign of Blood. Inside, guests get to experience an immersive preview of the yet-to-be-released Universal monster film as they encounter many bloodthirsty vampires and other evil forces. The following house would be located inside the Disaster Queue and be an original concept featuring maniacal clowns, as it would be called Giggles and Gore Incorporated. Within, guests enter a demented factory where people are kidnapped and turned into lunatic clowns, and now they seek to make guests a part of their sinister circus. Reportedly inside the house, there were many Easter eggs that alluded to the popular Horror Nights icon, Jack the Clown. The next house would be placed within Sprung Tent 2 and be based off the 1978 John Carpenter classic horror film Halloween, as it shared the same title. Within, guests get to relive the iconic slasher film as they witness Michael Myers' night of horror firsthand and looks to make guests one of his many victims. This wouldn't be the last of Michael Myers at the event, as more iterations of Halloween would be featured in future events. The seventh house of the event would be located inside Sprung Tent 1 and be an original concept set within an evil dollhouse, as it would be titled Dollhouse of the Damned. Here, guests enter a demented dollhouse that has been long abandoned, and all the toys within are angry and look to make guests an eternal resident of their hell. Dollhouse of the Damned and Halloween would share credit for House of the Year for 2014, in similar fashion to the 2011 event. The final house would be located within the Parade Warehouse building and be another original concept, playing off the mystery of the colonial colony Roanoke, as the house was officially titled Roanoke Cannibal Colony. Inside, guests find out what happens to this cursed colony, as all the settlers have turned into hungry cannibals and will devour any fresh meat that passes through. This would complete that lineup of houses at the 24th Halloween Horror Nights, being a compilation of iconic pop culture horrors and original nightmares. For the scare zones of this year's Halloween Horror Nights, instead of having one park-wide street experience that has one central theme, it would return to its original concept of having separate terrifying themes located all around the park. The first scare zone would be located within Plaza of the Stars in Production Central and be themed to an evil masquerade ball, as it would be titled Masquerade Unstitched. Here, guests enter a macabre dance of death as evil souls linger about to show the true horror that lies behind the mask. The next scare zone would be held within the New York area of the park and be based off the popular horror thriller film franchise The Purge, as it would be officially called The Purge Anarchy. Mixing elements from the first two films released, guests get to experience Purge Night firsthand, as purgers are walking about and ready to claim their next victim. Like Halloween, the Purge franchise would have future iterations in the upcoming years of the event. The third scare zone would be placed in Central Park and be themed towards a hellish bayou, as it would be called Bayou of Blood. Within here, guests enter a Louisiana bayou where many voodoo practitioners call home, and as guests intrude, they volunteer themselves as willing victims to their rituals. The final scare zone would be located in the Hollywood area of the park and be based off the sci-fi competition TV series Face Off, as this one would be officially called Face Off in the Flesh. Here, guests are surrounded by some of the most terrifying creations from the show, as the creatures come to life and are hungrier than ever. But the final aspect of this year's event would be its entertainment offerings, as it would again see the return of two fan favorite shows. The first show would be held in the Beetlejuice Graveyard Review stage and be the fifth run of the tribute show, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, A Tribute. The show would consist of its same content, as it would reenact popular sets from the cult film and perform fan favorite songs. This would be the final act of the show, as this was the last time it would be held at Halloween Horror Nights. The second and final show would again be located in the Fear Factor Live stage and be the 23rd edition of the comedy parody show Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure. In this year's show, Bill and Ted are sent on a mission by Ice Cube to the school of incredibly ungifted celebrities, where many popular characters and celebrities of 2014 are seen to drop dead mysteriously, and the Wild Stallions must figure it out, all while the hysterical characters cause mayhem. Characters to be featured in this year's show was Zac Efron, Elsa and Anna from Frozen, and Walter White from Breaking Bad. This would complete the 24th annual Halloween Horror Nights event, filled with unique street experiences and electrifying entertainment. In overview, Halloween Horror Nights 24 was a solid addition to the history of the event, bringing back popular IPs while also introducing new horror properties to terrify guests. But as all the evil creatures and maniacs return to their dominion of hell, Halloween Horror Nights would rest again, but only to come back another year as all the carnage would make its grand return.